This is Greg Jones, 1623, Custom Harmonicas, your Seydel service tech and dealer. And in today's video, I want to talk real briefly and demonstrate some techniques here on the what we call flat sanding or flat sanding the draw plate. So first of all, I want to say there's a lot of discussion about flat sanding the draw plates on our diatonic harmonicas, and I just want to kind of talk about this for a minute. I don't really think that flat sanding the draw plates, at least in the case of Seydels, has a noticeable effect. I just don't see that it really makes a difference. But I'll talk about the theory of it, show you how I would do it. If your harmonica is already taken apart and you want to go ahead and do it, I guess it really couldn't hurt. And sometimes I'll kind of do it just because it only takes a minute. But let's talk about it a little bit. And first of all, I'm going to demonstrate. I have a disassembled session steel. Okay, so the session steel in review is a recessed reed plate. So when we say recessed, the reed plates fit in just like that, and then that's one style. Call that recessed, and then the other style is an 1847 silver, and that's sandwiched. And so the reed plates on a sandwich fit on top of the comb, and the reed plates in a recessed diatonic fit more or less inside the ridges. Okay, so when we talk about the draw plate, well, let's talk a little bit about the construction of reed plates. So typically, your top reed plate, here's your top reed plate, the top reed plate, and this is the bottom. So the bottom reed plate has reeds exposed on the outside. The top has the reeds that set down in the slots. Okay, so that's going to be the top, and that's the bottom. So on the top, obviously, you can't really flat sand that because you're bumping into the reeds. So there's not really a lot you can do, but it's not really wouldn't be necessary there at all, though, and that's because the reason some people feel the need to flat sand draw plates is that there are these little raised ridges there where the screws go in. So this is a threaded part of the plate. These are threads in there, and they're we have these type of machine screws that are self-tapping. So when they put them in at the factory, there might be a small pilot hole there or no hole, and they'll drill those into the plate. When they do, it raises that thread up there from inside the plate. It just kind of gives a little bit of a ridge. It's not much. It's just a little bit, and it's just where it kind of pops out. So on the top part of the plate, this may be a little confusing, but follow with me if you can. On the top part of the plate, they oversize the hole at the factory. Okay, so they oversize it, and they drop the screw. It drops right in there, and so generally there's no ridge on the top part, generally speaking, but there is a little bit of a ridge on the bottom, and so to some extent that could, in theory, I don't think it does, but it could cause the bottom reed plate to sit slightly elevated on the comb, which would maybe cause some air loss or air leakage. You'll hear on the forums people talk about airtight, almost ad nauseum, and so technically that could be a problem. So anyhow, since it only takes a minute to flat sand draw plate, since this harmonica is already taken apart anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And if it helps, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So the first thing I'll do, I use these little fingernail buffing sponge, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what you want to call them, but I use those. Just kind of go like that, and that gets it does help clean the plate a little bit, and I'm sure that helps some. But basically, I'll just kind of do that right there. But I can still feel a little bit of that ridge, just a tiny bit right there. And so what I'll do then, I'll take a rotary tool. You can do it however you want. You can take sandpaper, take whatever you want to do. I take this rotary with a little sanding wheel on it, and I'll just go over that part right there a little bit and knock down those threads. And anyhow, that's basically that's basically all it is right there. And so those things have been kind of knocked down. Now they're flat, and I'll put it back together. So I'll just, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to grab an 1847 silver and kind of show you the same process. 1847 silver here, which, as I said, is the sandwich design. I'm going to take that thing apart, speed up the video. Okay, I have an 1847 silver and took the reed plate screws off. And so, as I said, this is sandwich style design. And if you'll see here, well, real quick, just note on the sandwich style design 1847 reed plates, there's a little bit of a ridge right there, and just a little bit different style of construction. So if you'll see right there, we have the draw plate, and so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sand that the same way, and the plate will look a little bit cleaner on the bottom once I get done, I guess. And then once again, I'll just take a little sanding wheel, and I'll just knock down those threads a little bit. Reason I don't really think this makes that much difference is because the holes on the bottom of the comb are basically the same size, and so I just don't think that this adds. I don't think that it really raises the level. I don't think it raises or creates space or distance in there where the comb would sit in. But like I said, it only takes a minute to do it. Couldn't hurt. That's basically how I go about flat sanding the drop plate. And now when you'll see or hear that discussed, you'll know the theory and the process behind it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Greg Jones, 1623 Customer Harmonicas.